Yo, Elliot! Hey, I often get a lot of questions from people wanting to know, why is it that I invite you to open your mouth up when you do the bioenergetic exercises, when you're trying to increase and improve your respiratory wave, right? So when I've shown you how to do the bow, or if I've shown you how to use the bioenergetic stool, I often remind you to open your mouth, right? And especially because that goes against what most fitness, strength and conditioning, yoga, tai chi, what they typically teach you with regard to breathing in most modalities of exercise. These birds are nuts today. They're having gang wars or something, the birds in the tree. Anyway, so why does Elliot tell you to open your mouth? Okay, the very first thing I want to remind you of are the neurotic holding patterns that I'm often talking about. Wilhelm Reich called it muscular armoring. And the muscular armoring goes, what he called were bands across your eyes, across your jaw and mouth, across your chest, your belly, and your pelvic floor. When I say breathe into your balls, what I mean is that your muscles are relaxed enough. You're not tense. And we are, at an unconscious level, we're tensing ourselves. We're tensing our musculature. And that's what I call neurotic holding patterns. We're actually doing it. You know, we're tense in our face, we're tense in our neck, we're tense in our belly, we're tense down in our pelvic floor. So when I say breathe into your balls, airplanes. You would think I live in a war zone, right? With all the ambulances and airplanes and gang wars with the birds and shit. So let me get back on track. So when I invite you to do a bow or an exercise like leaning over the bioenergetic stool, the very first thing that we're trying to do is to put a stretch into all the extra respiratory muscles, right? You lean back like this, right? You put your hands on your butt. I've shown you multiple different ways to do it. You lean back like this, pinning your shoulders. You're opening up your pelvic floor. You're stretching your hip flexors. You're stretching your belly. You're stretching your chest. You're opening all that up. Or if you do it this way, there are multiple different ways to do the bow. But what we tend to forget is our face. For some strange reason, in exercise professionals, we tend to forget that there are hundreds of muscles all around your freaking head and your face. And not only are there muscles, but they're critically important muscles that support your ability to see. You've got eye muscles, they're called octa something muscles, but you got muscles around your eyes, you got muscles across your skull, and you've got the biggest, most powerful set of muscles in your head, perhaps throughout your entire body, which are your jaw muscles. The big muscles that stretch up across your face, into your head, and affect everything. Tighten your jaw right now, just bite your teeth down as hard as you can. Look at me. Look at all the muscles here. My face. You do that, you hold that for about a minute. Guarantee you'll have a headache. You won't be breathing deep. Your neck will start hurting. Right? These are all associated with the muscular or the neurotic holding pattern of tight jaws and a tight face, and you can't breathe deep if all those muscles are tense. Now, you might say, Elliot, when I breathe through my nose, I'm not tightening my jaw, right? I'm not biting down hard. But what you got to recognize is that these neurotic holding patterns are unconscious, and they are a manifestation of holding back emotion, right? And one of the emotions that are probably the emotion that's held back the most, besides fear, but the most potent and obvious manifestation of fear is anger, is associated with the jaw muscles. Anger is trapped in our face, and the reason why you might be able to, a good metaphor for that, the reason why you know that's the case, is because they're very aggressive muscles, and in all animals throughout the animal kingdom, and our physical bodies are no different than the other animals in the animal kingdom, except that we stand upright, which gives us, that's a totally different story, but it gives us a lot of cool shit because we stand upright and our eyes are forward. But anyway, what do? They're biting shit, even if they're vegetarian, right? Vegetarian animals will, if you fuck with a vegetarian animal, they'll bite the shit out of you. These muscles are associated with aggression. And you're either biting or you're using it aggressively with your language. Somebody who has a really sharp tongue. they talk at you like they're about to bite your fucking head off. That's why they use that metaphor. The guy just bit your head off. So you know that there's a lot of trapped emotion. You know there's a lot of neurotic holding due to the restriction of our ability to express anger, right? Somebody who's angry does this. An angry dog does this. So when I invite you to breathe into your balls, when I invite you to breathe deep, you've got to relax all the extra respiratory muscles, and that includes the ones in your face. Now you might say that, Elliot, it's stressful for me to open my jaw, to open my mouth like that. How is that stretching, or how is that releasing the tension? Well, those muscles, when they're contracted, they do this. The opposite of contraction would look like that. Okay, and that's not to invalidate the position that you should breathe through your nose, because breathing through your nose stimulates the parasympathetic branch of the nervous system. There's great benefit to breathing through your nose. It stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, and you know this because your heart rate goes down when you breathe through your nose. But, like I've said in other videos, most of us are far too neurotic, and we've got far too much muscular tension to receive the full benefit of just breathing through your nose. So that's it. I might sound fucking crazy a lot of times, and I watched a video from one of the powerlifters over on Elite FTS, made a pretty funny video about me, and he's like, you know, half the shit Elliot says is nuts, but the other half seems like it makes sense, but that half that's nuts usually turns out to be true when I try it. Right? So I might sound like I'm fucking crazy, and I might make you do things that seem off the wall, like open your mouth up wide when you breathe, but I've thought about this shit, folks. I've researched it, and I use it myself, and I think that's the most important thing for you to understand if you happen to be watching my videos and you listen to the things I say. What I offer you, especially when it comes from the depths of my heart and my sincerity, comes from a place of experiential knowledge. People would call that bro science, right? But that experiential knowledge and understanding comes from my heart. So when I offer it to you, the conviction is there because I've done the shit, right? I can tell you right now that when you're stressed out and you learn how to relax your jaw, let your tongue float the roof of your mouth, or stretch the face by opening the jaw, you will breathe deeper. You'll breathe into your balls. Peace. Yo, Elliot.